I was 21 years old and driving home from college for winter break when it happened. The route should have taken about 4 hours. To save time, I ignored the interstate and followed a shortcut suggested by my GPS. At first it seemed harmless. The road cut through miles of forest, winding between bare trees and frozen fields. There were no streetlights, no houses, no gas stations, just darkness. It was a little after midnight when I noticed the car. Its hazard lights blinked steadily on the shoulder ahead. Orange, dark, orange, dark. As I got closer, I instinctively eased off the gas. My first thought was that someone needed help, maybe a flat tire, maybe engine trouble. The road was isolated enough that leaving someone stranded felt wrong. My headlights swept across the vehicle as I approached. That's when I noticed something strange. The driver's door was hanging wide open, but there was nobody around. No driver, no passengers, nothing. I slowed even more. Then my headlights illuminated the road ahead. My stomach dropped. A row of wooden chairs stretched across both lanes, not scattered randomly, not crashed there accidentally. They were perfectly lined up. 8 heavy wooden dining chairs placed side by side, completely blocking the roadway. I remember staring at them in disbelief. Who would do that, and why? A warning bell started ringing in my head. Every instinct told me not to get out of the car. The entire scene felt staged, like something waiting for me to make a mistake. I shifted into reverse. That's when the forest exploded with light. Blinding high beams suddenly ignited from both sides of the road. I flinched and threw an arm across my face. For a second, I couldn't see anything except white. Then engines roared, deep, powerful, close. 2 pickup trucks burst from hidden trails in the trees, one from the left, one from the right. They rolled directly behind my car and stopped, blocking the road, blocking my escape. My pulse immediately spiked. This wasn't random. Someone had planned this. I was trapped. The abandoned car sat ahead. The chairs blocked the road. The pickups blocked the rear. And the forest surrounded everything. The high beams remained fixed on my vehicle, flooding the interior with harsh white light. I grabbed my phone. No signal. Of course. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped it. Then I saw movement. Beyond the chairs, at the edge of the woods, a figure stepped out of the darkness, slowly, deliberately. The person was wearing dark clothing. I couldn't make out their face, only the silhouette. In one hand they carried something long and metallic. As they moved closer, the object caught the highlights. A tire iron, heavy, solid steel. The figure continued walking toward my windshield, not running, not yelling, just walking, like they already knew I wasn't going anywhere. The silence somehow made it worse. My heart hammered against my ribs. I remember thinking this was exactly how people disappeared. A fake breakdown, a roadblock, a trap. The figure reached the first row of chairs, then the second, still approaching. 20 yards away, 15, 10. I could see the tire iron clearly now. My brain finally stopped panicking long enough to realize something. The chairs, they were wood, heavy, but wood, and my car weighed over 3,000 pounds. The front end would probably be destroyed, the radiator might rupture, the airbags might deploy, but that was still better than staying. The figure was only a few feet from my bumper when I made my decision. I slammed the accelerator to the floor. My tires spun. Then the sedan launched forward. The figure jumped aside. The first chair exploded beneath my bumper. Wood shattered across the hood and windshield. The second and third instantly disintegrated. The impact sounded like gunshots. The entire car shook violently. I kept my foot down. More chairs shattered. Splinters flew through the air. The steering wheel fought against my hands. Then, suddenly, I was through. The road opened ahead. I accelerated as fast as the car would go. In my rearview mirror, I caught one final glimpse of the scene. The figure stood motionless in the roadway. The pickup trucks remained where they were. Neither vehicle followed. Neither driver moved. They simply watched me disappear into the darkness. I drove until sunrise. When I finally stopped at a gas station, I found half a chair leg embedded in my front grille. The mechanic later told me I was lucky the damage wasn't worse. The police searched the area after I reported what happened. They found the road, the forest, the tire marks, but no abandoned car, no chairs, no pickups, nothing. To this day, I still wonder what would have happened if I'd stepped out to move those chairs. And every time I drive a deserted road at night and see hazard lights ahead, I don't slow down anymore. I keep driving. I live alone in a small suburban neighborhood about 20 minutes outside the city. It's the kind of place where kids ride bikes in the street and neighbors wave when they pass each other. Nothing exciting ever happens there. That's why what happened still bothers me years later. It started with a package notification. At exactly 2:03 p.m., while I was sitting at work, my phone buzzed. A delivery text. Nothing unusual. The message said, "Your package has been delivered." Underneath was the standard delivery photo. A small cardboard box sitting neatly on my front porch. I glanced at it, confirmed the package had arrived, and went back to work. I wasn't expecting anything valuable, just a few household supplies I had ordered online. I figured the box would still be there when I got home. 4 hours later, I pulled into my driveway. The sun was already setting. I walked toward the porch and immediately noticed something was wrong. The package was gone. At first, I wasn't concerned. Maybe a neighbor had moved it. Maybe it had been delivered to the wrong address. But when I reached the front door, there was nothing. No box, no note, nothing. I sighed. Porch pirates weren't uncommon. Annoying, but hardly shocking. Fortunately, I had a smart doorbell camera. I unlocked my phone and opened the app. If someone had stolen the package, I'd have video evidence. I sat down on my couch and began scrolling through the camera timeline. The footage from 2:03 p.m. appeared. There was the delivery driver, exactly as expected. He walked up the driveway, placed the box beside the door, took the confirmation photo, then returned to his truck and drove away. Case closed, or so I thought. I was about to exit the app when I noticed another motion alert. 2:05 p.m. Only 2 minutes later. Curious, I tapped it. The video loaded. At first, the porch looked empty. Then a figure stepped into frame. I remember feeling confused more than alarmed. The man wasn't dressed like a thief. No hoodie, no mask, at least not a normal mask. The best I can describe it is this. It looked like someone had taken a human face and stretched it over a mannequin. The material was flesh-colored, perfectly smooth, no eyebrows, no wrinkles, no visible eye openings from a distance, just an unnaturally blank face. The figure walked directly to my front door. He didn't even glance at the package. Instead, he reached beneath a decorative planter beside the steps. My stomach dropped because I knew exactly what was hidden there, my spare key. The man pulled it out, unlocked my front door, picked up the package, and walked inside my house. Then he closed the door behind him. The video ended. I sat frozen on my couch, trying to process what I had just watched. A dozen explanations ran through my mind. Maybe it was a friend, a relative, someone helping me. But none of those made sense. Nobody had access to my spare key. Nobody knew where it was hidden. And nobody I knew wore a face like that. I immediately checked the next recording. 2:10 p.m. Nothing. 2:20 p.m. Nothing. 3 p.m. Nothing. Hour after hour of footage showed an empty porch. The front door never opened. The man never came back out. My heartbeat became painfully loud. I switched to the indoor security cameras. I only had 2, one in the living room, one aimed toward the kitchen. The recordings began at 2:05 p.m. The front door opened. The man entered carrying the package. For several seconds, he stood completely still in the entryway, almost like he was listening. Then he turned toward the hallway leading deeper into the house, toward the bedrooms, and walked out of view. That was the last time any camera captured him. I checked every minute afterward. Nothing, no movement, no exit, no sign he ever left. The realization hit me slowly. The man had entered my house 4 hours earlier, and according to the cameras, he was still somewhere inside. I don't remember grabbing my keys. I don't remember leaving. I only remember sitting in my car at a gas station 3 miles away while police searched the house. They cleared every room, every closet, every crawl space, the attic, the garage. Nothing. No intruder, no package, no evidence. The officers eventually suggested the camera footage might be corrupted. Maybe the timestamps were wrong. Maybe there was a technical issue. I wanted to believe them. Then one officer called me back to the house. He showed me something I hadn't noticed. The living room camera had captured a reflection in a hallway mirror before the masked man disappeared. The reflection was someone standing at the end of the hall, watching him. The figure wasn't wearing a mask. The figure was me.
standing in the exact clothes I was wearing at work at 2:05 p.m., 4 hours before I came home.
I used to think I was pretty good at noticing when someone was watching me. Most women learn to pay attention to those things. The extra glance, the person who seems to appear everywhere, the feeling that someone's eyes are following you. Usually, though, it turns out to be nothing. That's what I told myself the afternoon it happened. It was a Saturday in early December. I was downtown doing some Christmas shopping. The department store was packed. Every floor was crowded with shoppers carrying bags and rushing between displays. It felt like the safest place imaginable. I was browsing winter coats on the third floor when I first noticed him. I had slipped on a dark green wool coat and was standing in front of a full-length mirror near the back of the department. The mirror was huge, stretching from floor to ceiling. As I adjusted the collar, I noticed an older man reflected behind me. At first, nothing seemed unusual. He stood near a rack of ties, about 10 feet away. Grey hair, tan jacket, maybe in his 60s. But something felt off. His eyes weren't looking at the ties. They were fixed directly at my reflection, watching me. The moment I made eye contact through the mirror, he quickly turned away and pretended to examine a display. I remember feeling uncomfortable, not scared, just uncomfortable. I put the coat back and left the department. A few minutes later, I was on a different floor looking at shoes. I had completely forgotten about him. Then I saw him again, standing beside a display of handbags, looking directly at me, not browsing, not shopping, just standing there, watching. A chill ran through me. The store had 6 floors, thousands of people. The odds of randomly crossing paths were possible, but it didn't feel random. I moved to another section. A few minutes later, there he was again. Not close, never close, always far enough away to seem innocent, yet somehow always facing me. I started wondering if I was overreacting. Maybe he simply recognized me from somewhere. Maybe I looked like someone he knew. I decided to test it. Without buying anything, I immediately walked toward the exit. I crossed the street and entered a brightly lit fast food restaurant packed with customers, families, teenagers, tourists. The place was crowded and noisy, exactly the kind of environment where a stalker would lose interest. I ordered fries and a drink and chose a booth near the back. Importantly, I sat facing away from the windows. No one from outside could see me, or so I thought. A few minutes later, my phone vibrated. I glanced down. An airdrop request. The sender's name was blank. No contact information, no message, just a file waiting to be accepted. Without thinking, I tapped accept. The image opened instantly. For a second, I didn't understand what I was seeing. Then my stomach dropped. It was me. Not a selfie, not a picture from social media. A photograph taken moments earlier. The back of my head, my hair, my jacket, the exact booth where I was sitting. The image had been taken from directly behind me. My hands started shaking. The restaurant noise seemed to disappear. I stared at the screen, trying to convince myself there was another explanation. There wasn't. Someone was close enough to photograph me right now.
Very slowly, I lowered the phone. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my neck. Then I turned around. The booth behind mine was occupied. A single person sat there, the older man from the department store. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't pretending to eat. He was simply sitting there, holding his phone, smiling. Not a creepy grin, not a threatening expression, a warm smile, the kind you give an old friend, like we knew each other, like we'd planned to meet. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then his phone buzzed. He looked down at the screen. His smile widened slightly, and my own phone vibrated again. Another airdrop request. This time I didn't open it. I stood up so quickly that my drink tipped over. People stared as I rushed toward the exit. I didn't stop until I reached my car several blocks away. Later that night, curiosity got the better of me. I opened the second airdrop request. It contained another photograph, taken after I had stood up from the booth. The image showed me walking away, but that wasn't the disturbing part. The disturbing part was the timestamp. According to the photo metadata, it had been taken nearly 10 minutes before I received it, before I had even entered the restaurant, and visible in the reflection of a restaurant window was the photographer, not the older man, someone else entirely, standing beside him, holding another phone, watching me from outside.